yeah, I just wanted to ask a few questions about both of your experiences working with me, if that's okay. It's been, what, 7 months now? And Hailey, you've gone from pretty bad spot to now a pretty good spot as it goes. And this week was a great test of that. Obviously got up to a few things, which was amazing, and it is amazing to see. So my first sort of question is, overall, how would you describe your experience over the last 7 months? Hailey, we'll go first with you, and then Nicole, you can follow up.
Well, definitely been extremely challenging. It's been easier in the last couple of months. And, you know, I could see the end approaching. Yeah, at the start, it was, you know, I could see how challenging it was going to be, but we eased into it. So it's fine. It wasn't like an overload. We just, yeah. But we had some very difficult points, some quite low points, but yeah, I mean, right now I've had a great week. Been to another country, had 2 job offers, and nice days out, so it's all worth it. Had, yeah, any challenging moments I've been through throughout recovery, it's been more than worth it.
Brilliant. And Nicole, from your perspective, how has it been sort of viewing Hailey going through that process in over the last sort of 7 months?
We're at or very near the end now, and Hailey's all better. Looking back, I think at the beginning it was not a gamble, but you know, we were still skeptical because of all the things that we had tried before, and it was such a long time with Hailey, at times looking like maybe she's improving, and then it would all get worse again, and this was going on for 2.5 years. So to believe in anybody who says, you know, they can help, it was tough, and we didn't know if it would work. And also, as you always say, it's definitely not linear, the recovery. It can go well, and then, you know, life is still around you, things happen, and Hailey would have little setbacks. There were times when I thought, well, yes, I can see that her physical strength is improving because she's doing more, but are her symptoms actually getting better? So I would say for the first 2 or 3 months, it was still very much, yeah, let's see what happens. And then the results started to really show, I think. You could see even when she was having a bad time, those bad times were less and shorter. And she was just gradually able to do more, and then things just became clearer and easier and more positive. So
yeah, and it's interesting because I remember on the first call, like the introductory call, it was very much, obviously you guys, I could tell you guys had such a rough ride with it, and it's so often the case when I first speak to someone, it's I think the hardest thing is to actually trust that hope that you've got again, because so often you're given a bit of hope. You see something online, or you see someone saying that they can help, and then you have hope again, and then you're let down. And that emotional roller coaster of just going through, oh, this is the answer, and then being let down again is so difficult. So I got that real sense in the first call, and it's extremely rewarding for me to be able to give you guys hope, and then follow through with it and deliver it. And it's been amazing to see that process for both of you, emotionally and yeah, get to where we are. So that's a real reward for me. So thank you for allowing me to have that. Just going back to the start again then, could you give people an idea of just what life was like 7 months ago? Hailey, you go first, and then again, Nicole, if you want to follow up from your perspective too.
Yeah, so yeah, as we said, we started working together about 7 months ago, but I was already 2.5 years into having post-concussion syndrome. So I had, on extreme days, I had moments where I couldn't hold my own head up. I had to have help getting changed. even out eating, which those were the extreme days. That wasn't too often, but one's enough. You know, it's having to do that at all. It's, yeah, no one should have to. So yeah, those were the worst points, but the more frequent lows were just my fatigue was at such a low point that it just stopped me from doing almost anything I wanted to do. My life just went on pause because I couldn't do anything anymore. I got it 1 week before my final year in school, so that meant the whole of year 11, my GCSE year, my attendance was like 50%. I just physically could not get up and get ready and go in. So yeah, that was the biggest struggle, the fatigue. Meant I stopped doing all sports, stopped really going out ever, including family days out or just with friends. But yeah, that's completely better now, as we've said. I went to another country just for a day, spent 26 hours out of my bed. But yeah, that was definitely the worst of it, alongside all the other smaller things, but that was what was stopping my entire life.
Yeah. And Nicole, just as a parent, obviously having your child be in a situation like that must have been really difficult. If you could just, if you're happy to, just describe what it was like just to see Hailey in that sort of position, and how you sort of viewed her getting out of that, if there was any sort of way you felt there was a way.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, is the only way I can describe it. Hailey was always a very, very active, busy, even as a teenager, you know, people say, oh, teenagers are lazy, they don't get up and all this. And a lot of times when she was going through this, I think a lot of people assumed that's what it was, or she had slipped into depression and anxiety. And even from the doctors, we were getting that. And, you know, Hailey's incredibly strong to have gone through all of this. And yes, I'm sure, you know, I know she had dark days and dark times, but it was as a result of what she was suffering, not because that's just, you know, she wasn't depressed in the first place. She was fine. And she's the type of girl that would, if she ever had a day off school, she would find somewhere to go and work, somewhere to go and volunteer, somewhere to go and help, or want a day out. She didn't want to just lay around, she'd get bored. And with her post-concussion syndrome, that's all she could do. It was just, yeah, the fatigue was crazy. She just couldn't function. At times she would make the effort, gather all her strength and join us for family days out, or try, say, a family meal in a restaurant, and half an hour in, she would just be collapsed, head in her hands at the table, couldn't speak anymore, couldn't walk. I mean, there were times when her dad had to carry her out of the restaurant and put her in the car, and at home have to carry her up to her bedroom, and she would need help to get to the bathroom. For I don't know how many months, she couldn't wash her own hair because holding her hands up to wash her hair, couldn't do it. And to repeatedly, you know, have doctor's appointments and hospital appointments for them to say, oh yeah, it's post-concussion syndrome, it will get better, and expect you to just go away and live with it. It's just incredible. It's crazy. Okay, so it's not, you know, she's not fatally ill, she's not going to pass away from it, but she had no life. She couldn't live her life just at the age where her life is supposed to really take off, and, you know, college, uni, work, whatever she wanted to do, and it all had to stop. So yeah, it was very, very, really tough. Family holidays, of course, we have other children, we still wanted to do things, but Hailey couldn't join us, so she would come along, but then just stay in her room, stay laying down, and we'd have to sort of, you know, it was awful, saying, oh, you staying here then, are you going to be okay, are you sure? And to go off and try and have fun, knowing that she's back in the in the hotel, just laying there for the day. It was horrendous. Yeah, it was one hell of a journey. It was heartbreaking, as I say, to watch her.
Yeah, and it's so frustrating. That word frustration is probably the most prominent one. And that lack of help, for whatever reason, from the NHS and others within the UK, it's just not there. And there's that massive gap, which is just such a shame. And I'm sorry you've had to go through that and be a victim of that, both of you and your entire family, of course. And it's horrible. But what I got a sense of almost immediately was Hailey's like grit and determination to get better. And sort of seconds to your point that it wasn't depression. It's not as a result of your character, Hailey. It's a result of you're ill and didn't have any direction and help to get through it and take the right steps. But you so desperately wanted to and was so determined to do so. And that is a complete testament to your character, Hailey, and who you are and your bravery. And that's why you're sat here 7 months later, living your life again. And it's also obviously a testament to yourself, Nicole, and the people around her to help her get to this point. So, like, I think as much as I've obviously guided and helped a lot, ultimately you're the person who has to go and do it, Hailey. And so I got that sense on the first couple of calls. It was just like, what's the answer? Give me the answer. I'm going to go and do it. So yeah, massive testament to you. And you can be massively proud of yourself, Hailey, and Nicole, you can be massively proud of your daughter as well. And so then naturally, let's sort of talk about where you're at now and how have things changed for you, Hailey?
Yeah. So I'm trying out some new things now to get back into sport. I'm actually, tonight, I'm going to a ballet studio, see what's going on there, see if that's something I want to explore. I've done a netball trial with a team, so that's another thing I can explore if I wanted to. But the more exciting things, just in this 1 week, I went to Alicante for a day and then got back, and 6 hours after I landed, I had a job interview that I got offered on the spot, and then went straight from that one to the next one. Also got offered that one. Again, running on like 3 hours sleep. I hadn't slept in like 3 days. And I got offered both of them. And yeah, yesterday went to Wimbledon. That was a long day of a lot of walking. And yeah, no crash. Haven't crashed in months and months and months, and I'm not going to. So it's nice knowing I can do all these things. And yes, I will be tired, but who wouldn't? I'm not going to crash, and I'm not going to need to get carried around anymore.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sort of getting a little bit emotional thinking about it and seeing it. It's just so cool to see you where you are now. Before I start crying, I'm going to shift it over to you, Nicole. So from your perspective now, like what have you seen that's come back for Hailey, and what I'll let you just run away with it, I think.
Yeah, it's been, even though I've seen Hailey progressing and getting better over the last few months, it's only really been in the last, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks that I've seen her real true self come back. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it took a long time. Even though she was improving, we still had doubts. Would we go backwards again? Still be careful. But then she just went from strength to strength. And then to see her making these plans, all of these plans and ideas she has for life and to celebrate, and she's turning 18 shortly and making plans left, right and center, wanting to get back into, or wanting to start working and building her future career. And there's just a little bit of my Hailey that was missing for a long time, and that's come back. It's all there again. So yeah, it's amazing. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So strong.
Yeah. It's
Very proud.
it's just, yeah.
You're
It's
still
really
going to
cool.
cry, aren't you?
Yeah. I've just got to compose myself.
I haven't helped.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's just such a pleasure to do what I do. Like, I just love it.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. But yeah, no, it's been. I just want to thank you again for like trusting me to help you through this process. Because it is that taking that leap of faith, and it is utterly terrifying because you don't know, you're not really given any answers. So it's like, yeah, you've got PCS, but what does that mean, and what is safe to do, and naturally, if your body is letting you down the way it was, Hailey, and you feel like the right answer is to be bedbound, to then go out and start doing stuff, and basically the protocol for me was, let's get you exercising, and exercise makes you feel terrible, then it's utterly terrifying. So to trust that process and trust me, I thank you for trusting me, and then also thank you for letting me experience this, watching you go through what you're going through and get to where you are. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you trusting me. So yeah, thank you. And so then let's sort of go towards more of a sales pitch type thing. If someone out there is sort of in a similar position to you, Hailey, or position to where you were, what would you say to them if they were umming and ahhing about messaging me or just looking for help from anyone? What would you say?
Yeah. So, well, when we first started working together, just before, when I had seen your page and was looking through, I was hesitant. I could tell it was all something that I had to do alone. Well, not alone, but physically, I did have to put in the work myself. And I was just not lazy, but I just felt like I was waiting for a doctor to just give me a medication that it was going to make me better. Yeah. You just, your whole life, if you have a health problem, go to a doctor, they'll fix it. Done. This, wasn't like that. So yeah, I was hesitant. I wasn't all for it at the very start. But yeah, after our first couple of calls, then being told I could actually get better, after I had told myself I have to get better before my 18th birthday, just have to, otherwise it's just have to, there's no other choice. And then once you told me I could, that's when I really, I'm doing this now. If this is how that's going to happen, then I'm doing it. And as you can see, that's worked, that's happened. But yeah, I do get it if people are hesitant to want to start, because it's a lot. It's a lot to do. But if I had started years before I did, then I would have had my life back much, much sooner. But I don't know if I would have been ready then. I probably would have taken a bit more. But yeah, I did it, and if I could have done it sooner, I would have shaken myself to do it. Just meant I would have had another couple of years of actually living.
Yeah. And Nicole, from your perspective, like as a parent to another parent, potentially, what would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I could literally copy word for word what Hailey's just said, but I think the biggest belief when you're suffering health-wise is just, as Hailey said, you go to the doctors, you have a health concern, and you put all your trust in the medical professionals. However, this time they just couldn't help. And even though you read all about post-concussion syndrome and they've told you that that's what it is and there's no magic wand and you can't be just fixed, and you see the symptoms match up, there was always that element of doubt. Could it be something else? I mean, she can't even get up from bed most days and walk. That there's got to be, you know, you think all sorts of things. You start Googling these other medical issues and you're scared, and you go back to the doctors. Can you check again? Are there more blood tests you can do? Is that, you know, so medically she went through a lot too, you know, being prodded and poked and stabbed, and, you know, blood tests here, there and everywhere, down to physios and all kinds of things, which at her age, you know, you're a bit self-conscious, and having people touching you and doing these things, you know, it put her off. And I wouldn't have been surprised if, you know, it's actually a miracle that she engaged so well, I think, and did this. And she's so strong to still try and fix herself. So I'm very grateful that we both did give you that chance.
And same, likewise here. And it's yeah, again, that sort of just shouts how amazing you are, Hailey, and how brave, determined, resilient, all of these pretty cool words that you could use to describe a 17-year-old girl who's gone through something really, really difficult and come out the other end. So yeah, again, a testament to your character. Lastly then, like, is there anything that you'd both like to say that I've missed out, or anything that's sort of on your mind that you would like to tell people or tell me, or anything along those lines?
I can just add another little bit to my last bit, just from a parent's perspective. Sorry. Obviously, Hailey is of an age where she can do these appointments and things by herself, but at the same time, stepping back and watching her do this recovery program with you, and just believing that, you know, she knows what she's doing and she's following your instructions. Sometimes it was tough. Sometimes I wanted to interfere or message you, and you were great. You always say message me whenever you have any concerns, but I really tried to just step back and let Hailey do this for herself. But yeah, it was quite hard sometimes not to butt in and say, oh, you know, Barney said you should be doing this and this much exercise, and have you actually done it? And, you know, occasionally I'd get that I know what I'm doing, so I'd like to think I just stepped back and let you get on with it, and it's clearly worked. So yeah. It's a fine line between encouraging, supporting, and a bit of pushing, but not interfering too much. So a tricky age, you know. She's almost grown up, but yeah, still needs that support.
That's something that's difficult without PCS going on, right? Like that's
Exactly.
pretty typical of that age. And
yes.
yeah, and I mean, Nicole, I think you've been amazing throughout this process, and so supportive in all the right ways. So I wouldn't question that in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, it's very helpful for someone going through PCS when they've got such a good support network. So yeah, you've been brilliant. And so Hailey, sort of same question to you then. Is there anything that you'd like to add, or anything that you'd like to say?
Because I didn't really say anything about how just before we first started working together, I was like, I was starting to try to accept that that was just my life.
That you'd be like that forever.
Yeah. Because I had seen so many other people, whether that be in Facebook support groups or even just communities that I found through social media, that so many people had said they have post-concussion syndrome and they've had it for 20-something years. Like, hey, same. And after hearing from doctors that it's just going to get better when it gets better, there's nothing I can do about it, then that was terrifying. I could get better tomorrow. I could never get better. So yeah, I was trying to just begin accepting that just as my life. I was stuck, couldn't live. Yeah. Then you came in, proved me wrong. Yeah, I was just a few days ago as well, I was thinking about how it's been so long since I had blood test or any kind of injection, something I just had one too many cannulas in my arm for a teenager, I think. I just, yeah, as anyone would, hated going to those appointments. But yeah, it's been a very long time since I had one of those. Yeah, that's very grateful for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a huge part of the struggle is that fact that you don't know how long. If somebody could say to you, it's going to be a long time, you're not going to be fixed, you know, it's going to be 6 months or 8 months, I think that would even be helpful. Whereas if you just don't know, you just didn't know, could be better in a year, could be better in 5 years, or it could never go. That's the struggle. That is so hard to live with. That, you know, just say, yes, you do have this, you show all the symptoms, don't worry, it'll go away in time. Like, okay, what do you do in the meantime? You can't just live with it. It's, you know, it's impossible to just sit back and, oh, okay, then I can't do anything, but it will go away in time. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
just when I was in those moments of trying to accept that's my life, it was devastating enough at the time, but then thinking ahead into my future. So I've always wanted to be a teacher, which I'm doing now. But then if I had had post-concussion syndrome forever, then I had no chance of being a teacher. It's too loud, too busy, it's just too much. So yeah, that was career path gone. Hopes of building a family would have been a massive struggle, but yeah, I know that will be more than fine now. But yeah, that was one of the most terrifying parts, was that my teenage years gone fine, but then yeah, the rest of my life was the scary bit. But now, yeah, it's fine. I know I've already started building my career path. I've already taken the first few steps, and yeah, I'll be able to do almost anything I want now.
We've actually done a lot of work on your approach to things, with your mindset approach to things, and it's been really interesting to see how that's developed and changed over certainly the last 2 months, I'd say, because we've sort of been approaching normal life stuff that was just so inconceivable for you 7 months ago, right? So it's like suddenly having to make these decisions and do things that are quite scary and daunting, and probably were more or less accepted they weren't going to happen at one point. So it's been really cool to see you making these quite brave steps, like going away with a bunch of random people that you've just met on some site, right? And you've gone to Alicante, and then you're then doing job interviews. And at one point you went into this cafe and basically asked for a job and took your CV in, right? And that's a really brave thing to do, and actually thinking about what you want to do with your life. And I think a lot of the process as well was, yeah, it's been, for want of a better word, shit the last 3 years, having to go through what you've gone through, and you've lost those 3 years. But I would say what we've sort of worked on is seeing that, yeah, those 3 years are gone, and they weren't ideal, but you've learned so much from it. And how can we learn from this and make it a positive experience rather than a negative? And I think that frame of mind change for you has been really beneficial going forward. And I think you're now seeing problems and seeing things differently and seeing it in a new light as, right, well, what can I learn from this? What can I take from this that is good? And how can this create more positive in my life than negative? And that's been really cool to see. I think that's something that's changed in the last sort of 3 months. Is now it's like, well, yeah, what's a problem? A problem's just something I've got to pay a little bit more attention to, take a bit of action on, and then it's not a problem anymore. It's just a thing that's happened. And weirdly, it's like looking at this whole horrible experience for you is that it's like, well, okay, this has happened, but how can I frame it in a way that it gives me strength going forward rather than weakness? So it's been really interesting to see that sort of transpire. And I don't know if you've got any sort of comments on that, Hailey and Nicole, like whether you had any thoughts on that.
It's definitely, I would have thought, made you much stronger. And if anything, it's already helped you, even down to like your interviews. You can talk about, you know, I've had a brain injury and I've recovered and things were really tough and it's made me so resilient. I had to, you know, get up and get through this and do that with a brain injury. And, you know, in a way it's already turned into not a positive, but, you know, something you can draw on and talk about. And, you know, it's impressive. People are, wow, she's strong. So in that sense, one thing just to change slightly, that I just remember probably like you, I think we've seen a huge, oh my God, she is getting better, probably about 2-3 months ago ish. And then with that came obviously up until then, there wasn't much hope, and you know, there weren't any future plans. We would think about what she could do for work. Could she get a part-time job? And no, that would be a struggle. You know, we were looking into PIP, disability payments, applying for that, because how was she going to get on a train, bus, walk to work every day? And just wasn't going to happen. And then with the becoming stronger and seeing that, oh my goodness, she is getting better, she is recovering. And I felt at that point it then went quite quickly to, oh wow, you're better. What are you going to do now? You need to sort of sort out what you want to do with your life. And it was almost a bit of a shock to the system, because she went from not having any of those future plans to then deciding, oh yeah, I do have a future. And then it was almost a bit of not pressure, because obviously there's no pressure for her to start working. We'll always support her while she's not, you know, not well, but still she would want to anyway. She would want to start her life and doing things. But yeah, I just remember that moment, like, wow, let's start planning. Let's think about what she needs to do, which came almost as a shock. Not that we didn't believe that you could, you know, do this, but still always having those doubts along the way. What if she crashes again? What if we go backwards again? That was just such an ongoing feeling. It took a long time before we actually thought, yes, this is it. She's better. She's getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I sort of remember that sort of phase as well, and being like, oh, okay, yeah, well, that's something that's now the next challenge.
Yeah.
And I've gone through that process with a few clients, but it does tend to be the people that have had symptoms for such a long time. And you're right, it's a real shock, because we're good at protecting ourselves as human beings by not having those thoughts we don't need to have, or protecting ourselves from those thoughts and those possibilities if we don't think it's going to happen. So to then suddenly have that happen, be put in the position where, oh, okay, we can believe and we can have hope. And it goes back to that hope thing, isn't it? It's, you don't want to trust the hope. So then you just don't.
It's really sad. You get to a point where you stop hoping because you're protecting yourself, or
Yeah.
But and then when you get to that point, do you then have the confidence? Where does the confidence come from to start going out and doing these things? Which is, you know, where Hailey's strength of character has really shown. She has always been quite confident and outgoing. Fairly. I know you probably don't feel it, but to do what you've done after just being indoors for 2 years, to go out and just mingle with strangers and, you know, to plan trips on your own, you're not even 18, I think is incredible. To have gone through all these health issues and not going out much, to then doing all this. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, incredible, just incredible. And yeah, it's been a pleasure again. Just that's all I really think. So yeah, so I think that's sort of everything from my perspective. I just want to say again, like, a huge thank you to both of you for trusting me and allowing me to help you through this process. It's a real honor just to be able to do that, and yeah, just to say that I had played some sort of role in getting you back on your feet, Hailey. It's just been, yeah, it's been really, really, really cool. I'm really, really grateful for it. So thank you. But yeah, I think that's everything from me. So
I appreciate you thanking us, but it feels so wrong. You know,
That's me.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't be thanking us. We can never ever tell you how grateful we are. Honestly, it's just impossible.
Yeah, if it weren't for you, I'd still be stuck in bed right now.
Yeah, it's
Well,
amazing what you do, and so so much. I've often thought about what you do. You're obviously so good at the whole counseling, mentoring, coaching, even without, whether it's PCS or not. I'm sure you've got a real skill there for helping people anyway, whether it's in the post-concussion syndrome thing or otherwise as well. I mean, I've had a few friends or people that have just popped up in conversation with people that are having problems, their children, teenagers, whatever, and it's almost like, oh, I know a guy. I know a really good guy. Oh, you haven't got post-concussion syndrome though, but I really think just your counselling skills or whatever you want to call it must just be fantastic. Yeah.
oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah. I don't really know what to say. So
That's okay.
lost for words. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks. Cool. Yeah. So we'll finish there. If you've got nothing else to say, if you're all happy, and that was just, yeah, it's perfect. It's amazing. I mean, we've gone for about 40 minutes, so there's loads there that's going to be hugely beneficial for me, and just helps me help more people. So thank you for that. Thank you for taking the time. So we'll stop the recording there, unless there's anything final that you want to say, Hailey.
I think I'm done.
Cool. Brilliant. Lovely.